Everybody wants the win, but very few are willing to sit in the silence that creates it. Everybody loves the spotlight, the claps, the recognition, but what they don't talk about is the lonely road that leads there. See, 2026 is not going to reward noise. It's not going to reward crowds, opinions, or constant validation. It's going to reward the ones who learned how to stand by themselves when nobody was watching, when nobody was calling, when nobody was cheering. Because strength isn't built in company. It's built in quiet moments when you have to face yourself without distractions, excuses, or backup plans. There's a season in life when people disappear, invitations stop coming, and the room gets real quiet. Most people panic in that season. They think they're losing. They think they've been forgotten. But that's not loss, that's preparation. That's life pulling you aside and saying, let me see what you're really made of when it's just you. When you learn how to be alone, you stop begging for attention. You stop needing approval. You stop shrinking to fit rooms you were never meant to stay in. You start hearing your own voice clearly, and that voice starts giving you direction. Being alone teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to get up without motivation, how to keep moving without encouragement, how to believe without evidence. When nobody is around to clap for you, you learn how to clap for yourself. When nobody is around to push you, you learn how to push yourself. That's when habits are formed, character is built, and purpose becomes clear. Isolation isn't punishment, it's training. And the people who survive that training walk differently, talk differently, and think differently. By the time 2026 arrives, the ones who mastered solitude will be unshakable. They won't be distracted by trends or pulled down by opinions. They won't need crowds to feel important or noise to feel alive. They'll know who they are, what they're worth, and where they're going. While others are still searching for validation, they'll already be in motion. While others are afraid to be alone, they'll be comfortable leading from the front because they learned how to walk by themselves long before anyone followed. So if life has you alone right now, don't rush to escape it. Don't numb it. Don't complain about it. Use it. Because the people who win in the next chapter aren't the loudest, the most popular, or the most surrounded. They're the ones who learned how to stand alone, think alone, and build in silence before the world ever noticed. Winning looks loud from the outside, but it is built in silence. People only see the results, the confidence, the success, but they rarely see the quiet mornings and lonely nights that created it. Real growth doesn't happen in front of an audience. It happens when nobody is watching, when there is no applause to chase and no approval to depend on. In isolation, you find out how serious you really are. You learn whether your goals matter enough to keep going even when no one is clapping for you. Being alone removes distractions. There is no crowd to impress and no noise to hide behind. It's just you, your habits, and your discipline. That's where excuses lose their power. You stop waiting for motivation and start relying on consistency. You show up because you said you would, not because someone is cheering you on. This is where strength is formed, not the kind that shows off, but the kind that lasts. Isolation teaches patience, focus, and resilience. And those qualities become the foundation for every win that comes later. When you build in silence, you develop self-trust. You learn how to make decisions without asking for permission. You learn how to keep moving even when progress feels slow. Every quiet effort stacks up, even if it feels invisible in the moment. The discipline you practice when nobody is watching becomes the confidence you carry when the spotlight finally arrives. That's why real winners don't panic in lonely seasons. They understand that being unseen doesn't mean being unprepared. Most people quit during this phase because they mistake silence for failure. But silence is often a sign that something is being built. The ones who keep going, who stay committed in isolation, are the ones who step into the future ready. They don't need validation because they already know who they are and what they're capable of. They walk into success grounded, focused, and unshakable because their foundation was built where nobody could see it. If this message speaks to you and reminds you to stay disciplined in your quiet season, subscribe to the channel for more powerful content like this. And if this video added value to your journey, make sure to like it and keep building. Even when the world is silent, solitude is not weakness. It is a sharpening process. When the noise fades and the crowd disappears, something powerful happens. Your focus gets clearer. Your priorities stop competing with opinions. You are no longer reacting to what everyone else thinks you should be doing. Instead, you begin responding to what you know you must do. Distractions lose their grip when there is no audience, no comparison, and no pressure to perform. In that quiet space, your mind stops scattering energy and starts aiming it with intention. When you are constantly surrounded by people, advice, and opinions, your attention gets divided. You start chasing approval instead of progress. Solitude removes that confusion. It forces you to slow down and listen. You hear your thoughts without interruption. You recognize patterns in your behavior. You notice where you waste time and where your real strength lies. Focus is born when unnecessary noise is removed. And solitude is the environment where that happens naturally. In silence, discipline becomes louder than motivation. You stop relying on excitement and start relying on structure. You begin doing the work because it needs to be done, not because someone is watching. That kind of focus builds momentum. You become efficient. You stop multitasking your dreams and start committing fully to what matters most. The mind becomes sharper when it is not overloaded with distractions, and clarity becomes your advantage. Solitude also teaches emotional control. Without constant interaction, you learn how to sit with discomfort instead of escaping it. You learn how to process setbacks without immediately seeking reassurance. That emotional strength deepens your focus even more. You are no longer pulled off course by every doubt or delay. You stay steady, you stay locked in. That is how long-term success is built, not through bursts of attention, but through sustained focus over time. The people who master solitude don't lose connection. They gain direction. They return to the world clearer, stronger, and more intentional than before. They know when to listen and when to ignore noise. They move with purpose because their focus was sharpened in quiet moments that demanded honesty and commitment without distraction. Being alone teaches you how to trust yourself in ways nothing else can. When there is no one around to guide you, reassure you, or approve your decisions, you are forced to listen to your own judgment. At first, that can feel uncomfortable. Doubt becomes louder. Fear tries to take control. But over time, something shifts. You begin to realize that you don't always need permission to move forward. You start understanding that your instincts, shaped by experience and effort, are enough to guide you. Self-trust is built through action taken in uncertainty. When you're alone, every choice becomes your responsibility. There is no one to blame and no one to lean on. That accountability strengthens you. You learn from your mistakes without hiding from them. You adjust, improve, and continue. Each decision you survive, each challenge you overcome on your own, adds another layer of confidence. Not loud confidence, but quiet assurance that says you can handle what comes next. Discipline grows naturally in solitude. Without external pressure, routines become personal commitments. You show up because you respect yourself, not because someone expects you to. That discipline builds consistency, and consistency builds belief. You start trusting that if you decide to do something, you will follow through. That kind of trust changes how you move through the world. You stop second guessing every step. You stop waiting for validation. You act with intention. Being alone also reveals your inner strength. You face boredom, frustration, and resistance without distractions. instead of running from discomfort. You learn to sit with it and push through. That resilience becomes part of your identity. You no longer fear being alone because you know you can rely on yourself. You become your own support system, your own motivator, your own anchor. When people develop self-trust, they stop chasing approval and start building purpose. They walk into challenges knowing they can adapt. They make decisions with clarity and confidence because they've practiced doing it without a safety net. That strength doesn't come from isolation itself, but from what you learn about yourself while standing alone and choosing to keep moving forward. Growth often requires distance before it delivers direction. There are moments in life when separation is not a setback, but a signal that elevation is coming. Being pulled away from familiar people, routines, or environments can feel uncomfortable, even painful, but that distance creates space for transformation. When you step away from what is familiar, you gain a clearer perspective on who you are becoming. Separation removes old expectations and allows new standards to form. Elevation demands change, and change rarely happens in comfort. When you stay surrounded by the same voices and habits, growth slows down. Separation disrupts patterns that no longer serve you. It challenges your identity and forces you to redefine yourself without external labels. In that space, you begin to grow into your next level. You stop operating based on who you used to be and start aligning with who you are meant to become. Distance also protects your growth. Not everyone is meant to go where you are headed. Some people are only meant for certain chapters. Separation helps you release relationships, mindsets, and environments that limit your potential. It's not about arrogance or rejection. It's about alignment. When you separate, you give yourself permission to rise without being pulled back by expectations that no longer fit your direction. Elevation requires focus and energy. Separation helps you conserve both. Without constant interruptions, you can work on your skills, strengthen your mindset, and refine your purpose. You start building a version of yourself that can handle more responsibility, more pressure, and more success. Growth in isolation prepares you for visibility later. When the time comes to step forward, you are no longer fragile. You are grounded. Many people resist separation because they fear being misunderstood or forgotten. But true elevation does not require approval. It requires preparation. The quiet distance is where strength matures. It's where vision becomes clear and confidence deepens. Those who accept separation as part of the process rise differently. They don't rush. They don't beg. They emerge ready, aligned, and capable of standing tall at the next level without needing to explain how they got there. The future belongs to those who are comfortable walking alone, because independence creates clarity. When you are not afraid of solitude, you stop making decisions out of fear of abandonment or rejection. You move with intention instead of desperation. Walking alone teaches you how to rely on your inner compass, rather than constantly looking for direction from others. That independence becomes a powerful advantage in a world where many people are still waiting to be told what to do. Comfort with solitude strengthens leadership. Leaders are often required to make unpopular choices and stand firm when others doubt them. Those who fear being alone struggle in those moments. But those who have learned to walk by themselves understand that progress does not always come with agreement. They are willing to take responsibility and accept the weight of their decisions. That confidence comes from having already faced themselves in quiet moments and chosen to keep moving forward. Walking alone also builds resilience. When setbacks come, you don't collapse because you are not dependent on constant support to function. You adapt, you adjust, you continue. Independence teaches you how to self-correct instead of self-destruct. You learn how to handle disappointment without losing direction. That resilience keeps you moving while others get stuck waiting for reassurance or permission. The people who are comfortable alone are not isolated from the world. They are anchored within themselves. They can connect without losing their identity. They can collaborate without surrendering their vision. They are not easily influenced by trends or opinions because they know where they are headed. That stability allows them to move through the future with confidence and purpose. As the world changes and uncertainty increases, those who have mastered solitude will move ahead with calm determination. They won't be shaken by silence or slowed by absence. They will walk forward steadily, guided by discipline, self-trust, and clarity built in moments when no one else was there, carrying the strength of knowing they can stand alone and still move toward everything they were meant to become. If this message is helping you see your quiet season differently, make sure you subscribe to the channel for more powerful videos like this. And if this video added value to your journey, don't forget to like it and keep moving forward, even when the room is silent.